Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Appropriate Audiences. I'm your host, Haley Duran, and with me this week we have the always lovely and my personal favorite guest, Serene Jabejian. This week we'll be talking about Howl's Moving Castle, which is a Miyazaki film that came out in 2004. So, since it's its 10th anniversary, we thought, why not? That'd be kind of fun to talk about. It's about this girl named Sophie who gets turned into an old woman because of a jealous witch. Sophie ends up running away and finds Howl and his ragtag gang of things. Not people, things. So, just to start right off, what Miyazaki films have you seen?
I had only seen Castle in the Sky. I'm really disappointed in myself that I'd only seen Castle in the Sky because I really enjoyed it. And I'd heard that Spirited Away was also a good one, and I'd heard Howl's Moving Castle was amazing. And so, I mean, going into it, I guess I'll just answer that question too. I knew it was an amazing movie, but you know how when you hear this movie's amazing, but you're like, yeah, okay, it's amazing, but you don't really know until you see it. That's basically how I was with this movie. Even though it was a kids movie, I was like, yeah, okay, it's gonna be good. But no, it was a very good film. It had great content. The animation, aside from that, that was amazing, and the story itself was really captivating.
No, I'm really glad you like it because I personally love Miyazaki and I've seen a lot of his. So I would definitely recommend Spirited Away if since you haven't seen that, as well as you haven't seen Kiki's Delivery Service.
I have not. That's another one I should see, I know.
And Princess Mononoke. Basically see all of them because they're all fabulous. I have to ask, who is your favorite character?
I found myself relating a lot to Sophie because a lot of her issues with her character, I could relate to her a lot. But I really liked Calcifer. He was really sassy, and it was just fun to hear the things that he had to say.
Good. I agree with you about Sophie. Sophie is such an interesting main character because that's not something you would see a lot in film, portrayed in film. Self-esteem issues, I guess, are more of a popular theme now.
Yeah.
But I thought it was such an interesting character trait to have in a main character. What did you think about her personality?
Just her lack of self-esteem, in terms of oh, I'm never beautiful. I've never been beautiful, and I'll never be with anyone who is beautiful. I've had those days where I'm mopey and it's super angsty, but I've had those days. I feel like a lot of people have had those days. I felt like that made her really relatable. I can't think of any. I'm going to think of women. I can't think of any woman who has never questioned her physical appearance and therefore has had self-esteem issues, especially with how things are today. And it was 2004, but problems still existed then. So I thought it was really good that they made her so relatable. Even when she was older, even when she was less attractive, or I guess in her head she was less attractive, she was an old woman, it's whatever. But even when it was at that point, I felt myself relating to her. She still had those self-esteem issues, and it was easy to connect to her.
What I thought was interesting about Sophie was she's not unattractive, though.
Yeah, she's not. She's very
That's what I thought was interesting because she's not unattractive. So that made me think when I saw it, it made me kind of question what. I mean, I love the movie, I really do, and I think it's perfect. But at the same time, I was questioning what it was putting out to kids. I know everyone has self-esteem issues, but I don't know. I personally don't like when the character's attractive. It's I'm so ugly, and it's well.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Even women who are beautiful, they see themselves and they have self-esteem issues. I think that was a great example of how no matter how beautiful you are or how how unattractive you may think you are, you still are beautiful. You just may not see it, and I feel that was the case with her. And I just thought that's why I thought it was such a good example. I get that maybe that was what I don't know if, because I did like the film, and maybe that was what they were trying to say, unless they were trying to say that being I guess they were trying to say that maybe she was unattractive, but I never thought she was. I don't know.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I thought that was interesting, but I do see what you're saying, that because I think it is an important message to be it doesn't matter how you look, everyone has those days. And I think, I guess, I like that that's a message that they're saying to kids. I don't know about you, what you think about how a child would think viewing this.
Well, one scene that stuck out to me was when Howl, when he said like, "Oh, I'll never be beautiful anymore," like when she mixed up the spells or the potions in his bathroom, and he was like, "I'll never be beautiful," and then she had that outburst like, "That's not fair. Like I've never been beautiful in my life," and then she goes out crying, like storming out. I think that was a really good turning point. Like, yeah, even though I didn't agree with them saying that she's average looking, like I guess she's average looking. I don't know. Like I thought she was beautiful. I didn't think she was average looking, but just the way that they went about it, like how she had that outburst with him, like that what I got from that scene was there's more to a person than their looks, and it seemed as if Howl was very superficial, and like Sophie like helped change him in that way, and like that was a very important point in the film, I thought. But yeah.
No, I definitely agree, and I thought it was really interesting how when Sophie became an old woman, she was immediately liberated. Like, she didn't really care anymore about, like, how she looked or what she didn't help, what people thought of her, and she immediately, like, her personality didn't change, but she was just like, you know what, whatever, I'm going to do whatever I want.
Yeah,
I was like, that's so cool. Like, I mean, and it sends an interesting message about once you don't care about how you look, you're free to be yourself.
Exactly. Although that was actually really frustrating because, like, yeah, like, it was great that, like, she was liberated, but at the same time it was like, oh, she's like, now I don't have my my physical appearance to like rely on. Like I have to rely on my personality. Like, why? I don't know. Like that was interesting to me. Like I don't know how I felt about that. But although I did like that point where she says, I guess old people become sassy, or like she said something along those lines, and I thought that was really funny. But no, I mean I agree with what you're saying, but at the same time I was like, why is it that like she has to wait until she's no longer young to be herself?
I guess it's because I'm going to try to answer your question. Obviously, rhetorical or devil's advocate. I guess what I would think is because when you're at that age, everything is about looks, and you are always so self-conscious about how you appear to other people because, like, unfortunately, our society is very, like, it's all about how you look.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why, because she'd always been so, because in the beginning of the film, isn't she, like, focused on, like, how everyone looks around her, and she, like, compares herself.
Yeah, she
so it might just be her mindset, and, like, she's not really thinking about how she can also, like, it's not how she looks, it's her personality that's important.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know.
No, that makes sense. I just didn't think of it that way. But yeah, I didn't have anything to add.
It's okay. Going back to what you said about Calcifer being your favorite character, I think he's important to talk about because he has such an interesting backstory.
Yeah.
About how he's a star, but he's also a demon, and he, like, takes care of Howl even though he, like, has this whole pact with Howl. I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. Your thoughts?
I thought he was interesting. I don't think it was suggested that he was a star beforehand. Was he?
There is a point.
There is a point where he said that?
When he talks about his personal story to Sophie.
Yeah.
And he talks about how he was a star and, like, Howl found him.
I did not catch that. Wow. I totally missed that part.
Did you watch the English, like,
I watched
dubbed
the
version or the Japanese?
No. I watched the Japanese version.
Okay, because that was something I wanted to ask you, and that I will bring this up later.
I watched the Japanese version with the English subtitles.
Okay.
Because I don't know, I just never like to watch the English dubs. They're never good.
I personally watch the English dubs, but that's...
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I do. I know a lot of people who have the same opinion, and I do agree, but I need to be able to hear it.
Yeah, that's fair. I just wanted to hear the way that Miyazaki had, I guess, intended it. I don't know. But his character, I guess when he first said that he was a demon, I expected him to be, like, evil, like a demon. But he was so, like... He was so cute.
He's so cute. So
sassy and fun, and like the way that he would eat the wood, it was just so funny. And like he tried to be all like mighty and like, you can't tell me what to do, when Sophie was like, you're gonna cook my bacon, and he was like, no, I'm not. But like she really like got him to do what she wanted, and he, like, I mean, eventually he gave in, and like he was just so much fun to watch, like, and his like little comments here and there were just awesome. I don't know if that was partly because I felt like that was also partly Howl's personality. Like, he kept making, like, sassy comments as well, like, every so often. So maybe that was, like, part because he had Howl's heart. Like, maybe that was part of it.
I think so. I don't know. I'll go with you on that one.
Well, I'm just totally pulling that out of my butt here, so I don't know if that's actually what it is.
I mean, I'll take it. I don't have any ideas, so I'll go with you on that one. But no, he is so good. He's so cute.
Yeah.
But for me, my favorite character, who I think is the cutest, is the Scarecrow.
He was so cute.
'Cause he's so cute, and your heart
yeah.
breaks for him, but he's so cute.
Oh no, he's adorable. The way that he just like would just follow after her and would just keep going, and he was there to help her, and it was so precious. And then at the end when he was like, "I'm in love with you," and she was like, "Sorry."
And how he was a lost prince.
Yeah.
I was like, what? What just happened? Like, what did I just watch? Oh, it was so good. Like, and I was so mad because I should have seen that coming too.
Yeah.
But he's just so cute.
I just thought he was a magical scarecrow. I didn't think he was an actual
so
person.
I thought so too. I mean, it was so good.
Yeah.
I thought honestly, actually, that it was gonna end up being like a dog.
Woof.
Because like that's what dogs, they follow people around. Like I thought it was gonna be an animal.
Yeah.
Like when everyone started transforming into things, I'm like, okay, this is an animal of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, I was very wrong. But I don't know. I thought all the transformation things were very interesting, like how Howl was a bird, which I mean I guess makes sense.
Yeah.
But I did not see that coming.
You didn't?
That he was a bird.
I
Like,
figured
when that
he-
first
there was
happened.
something. I figured there was something about him.
I just didn't think it was gonna be.
Also,
like,
his name was Howl. Like.
I thought, I should have known because I obviously have seen a lot of Miyazaki films, but like when he first turned into a bird, I was like, I'm a bird. I was like, I didn't see this coming. I don't know. I just try to suspend my disbelief as much as possible, and then I'm just like, oh, very surprised.
Yeah.
I don't know. That could just be me.
No. I don't know. I guess I was surprised. Like I expected him to be magical, and I just thought part of the fact that he was magical or like had magical powers was that he could like turn into stuff, and he just was able to transform into a bird. I never really put two and two together. Like, oh, he is a bird. Like I never put that like into my head, and I was like, oh, but he can turn into a human, but he can also turn into a bird. I guess like yeah, okay, that makes sense. Then he is a bird, which then I don't know. Would that be borderline bestiality?
I know. Right? Guess what we're going to talk about after the break? Quickly, we're going to go to appropriate audiences with myself and Matt McGurdy, the best segment on this show. Hey, let's check that out.
Hello, and welcome to Notorious Netflix, a program dedicated to showcasing some of the worst movie masterpieces Netflix has to offer. I'm Matt.
And I'm Haley.
Nicolas Cage is truly the greatest actor of our generation. This week, Haley and I strayed away from Netflix to watch one of his classics.
This week, we're bringing you Vampire's Kiss.
Nick Cage plays a literary agent named Peter Lowe who often goes to therapy for his emotional problems. During a one-night stand, Lowe is bitten by a vampire.
Or so we're led to believe. Throughout the film, there are clues as to whether or not Lowe is merely crazy or that he may have actually been bitten by a vampire.
Spoiler, dude's nuts.
In Lowe's downward spiral, we watch him as he harasses his assistant, then rapes her, attempts suicide, and then kills a woman at a nightclub by biting open her jugular.
All while under the delusion of vampirism.
Honestly, this movie is a crazy back and forth between asking yourself what's happening and being amazed at Nick Cage's incredible acting.
Honestly, he's the best part of this movie. He's as over the top as you'd expect, which is lovely and beautiful, just like Cage himself.
The movie does have issues, though. The plot is confusing, and we have no reason to like Cage's character. Our sympathy falls with Cage's assistant, Alva, for a majority of the movie, which is fine, but without liking the base of Cage's character, it's hard to care about his descent into madness.
Basically, the only reason you're interested is to see what the crazy thing he does next, and that's not good plotting or character development. In fact, Cage's character is kind of a dick the whole movie. No one really develops at all.
But honestly, who didn't expect that going in? This is a classic Nick Cage film, and as such, we know we're strapping ourselves into a roller coaster of crazy and confusing.
And that's okay, because honestly, Nick Cage is the best actor ever. The end.
I give Vampire's Kiss 4 plastic vampire teeth out of 5.
And I give it 3, am I getting through to you? Out of 5.
That's all for this week's Notorious Netflix. Check us out next time for more horrible movie masterpieces. Welcome back. I hope you liked what Matt and I talked about in Notorious Netflix. So, bestiality. Let's get back to that. I'm kidding. We don't actually have to talk about that.
Let's not.
Let's not, and say we did. Hey. So, going off of magical abilities, Sophie. I know that technically Sophie was cursed, but she did have a little bit of magic in her as well, because she was able to change her appearance.
Yeah. I mean, I think, was that part of the fact that she had the spell still in her?
I think it's a mixture of both.
Because I think part of it was, the witch put that spell on her out of jealousy, but then the witch kind of just lost her powers, was like drained of her powers at that point by Salaman, I guess that's how you say her name, I don't know. But she kept going back and forth. Like, she was still young, but she was still old, and then she was young and then old, but like she kept her hair the same, and like I wasn't sure I wasn't sure if that was a continuity error or if it was actually how they meant it to be. And then I was like, oh, I think they actually meant for this to be like this. And I was really kind of it confused me. And then I was like, I wonder why. And then I did notice at one point when she looked young again, but she had the gray hair, but like she was talking to Howl in the field, and where he grew up, and she talks to him and she says something like kind of self-deprecating, and then she looks old again.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, maybe it has something to do with her personality, with like every time she puts herself down, she looks like an old woman, and then like once she gains the self-esteem, she looks young again.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a continuity error as well when I first saw it. I really thought, I was like, this kind of seems sloppy for Miyazaki. But then I've seen that movie a lot of times since then, and I realized that it has to do with her mood. So every time she's angry or upset or really just feels down about herself, she becomes an old woman again. And every time she has courage and feels confident, she becomes younger again.
Yeah.
But she always keeps the hair gray.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is because she's trying to keep some of what she went through as an old lady, like that, keep that memory.
I didn't really think of it that way. Like, although that may be part of it, maybe she wanted to keep that hair, but I thought the reason was because Calcifer was like, I need the strength to move the castle. Give me your hair, and he cuts it off and he takes it. Mm-hmm. I thought that was the reason, and like her hair just couldn't go back. Like it was just like a magical thing,
like a tangled Rapunzel.
Yeah, and you know how like her hair went back to being brunette after she cut her hair. Like I just thought it was something like that like her hair couldn't go back to being what it was because of that. But I could be wrong, and it could be because she wanted her hair to stay that color.
I don't know. I'm glad we did that in sync. I don't know. But no, I thought that was very interesting that she could change her appearance based on her mood, and it made me think that even though the witch cursed her, that she had some control over the curse as well.
Well, I think it started to slow down. Like when I really noticed that she stopped looking old and she started to look younger and younger was in that scene where she was defending Howl against Salaman, and like all of a sudden she started looking young, and I was like, wait a second, and then all of a sudden Salaman goes, I think you're in love with him, and she goes, no, and then she goes back to looking old, and I was like, what just happened? Did I see did I just see what I just saw? I'm not sure if that's what happened.
I didn't realize that's what you meant when you were talking to me about the film when you were watching. When you're like, I don't understand why this keeps happening. I'm like, I don't know what she's talking about. But
I figured that was why you didn't respond.
I also didn't look at it until this morning. But yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna ask later. But no. So I'm glad you mentioned the witch, because let's talk about her. Yeah.
She was in love. She was dating him. She was in love with him.
They weren't dating. Okay,
or maybe not
the
dating.
reason Sophie was cursed by the witch was because there was that whole thing where like the witch wants to be with Howl, but Howl doesn't want to be with her, so she's really jealous of anyone that Howl shows attention to, and so
is that why she's always after him?
Yeah,
like cursing him and like cursing.
Because she's trying to like get with him.
Yeah.
So that's why she cursed Sophie, because Howl like showed her some sort of attention.
Yeah.
And so she was like, this can't happen. But like, she wasn't. I don't know.
Like she seemed very harmless. Like for the Witch of the Waste, where everyone was afraid of her, she seemed pretty harmless. Like even when she and Sophie were climbing up the steps to the king's area, and I was like, what? It's just all comedy. Like it's all like she's a court jester practically. Like with the way that the two of them are climbing up the stairs, it was just really funny. I'm like, how can anyone be afraid of this? And then she became like a puddle of nothing.
Yeah.
At that point when she got drained of her powers, and I was like, she just looks like pudding. Like I don't
Yeah, I mean it's a shame you haven't seen Spirited Away, because like the witch lady in that is really good, and I wish she would have somehow been in this movie as well, because just that was more on point of what it should have happened, because this witch was just she was just lame.
Yeah.
She was just really lame and very upsetting. But going back to what I was saying earlier about English dub versus subtitles, it's actually a good thing probably that you watch the subtitles, because the first time I watched this movie, obviously English dubbed, Christian Bale is the voice of Howl.
No, that's just
and I was laughing for 5 minutes.
I just imagine him in his Batman.
No, like it's just his regular voice, but it's Christian Bale as Howl, and it doesn't make any sense.
No.
It doesn't make any sense, and it was so like, okay, no, I was laughing more like 5 years, because I'm just like, what is even happening? Why are you? Because Howl's like this young kid, and it's like, I'm Christian Bale. I'm like, why? So it might be a good thing, because it didn't ruin the movie for me, obviously, but it took me out of the movie for a second, and it shouldn't have happened. Yeah. That's my one bugaboo with the movie, and that's not even the movie. That's just a thing. That's just a thing.
A little thing.
Yeah. So just really quickly to wrap it up, overall, what do you think of the movie?
It was amazing. I would suggest to people who haven't seen it that they should see it, because it's really great. Despite the fact that it's a kids movie, don't judge it because it's a kids movie. A lot of kids movies can be great and can be seen by adults as well, and enjoyed by adults as well. And I definitely, I want to see it again. I want to like watch for things that I didn't see the first time, because like, and I don't really say that often. Like if I see a really good film, like I will want to see it another time and a time after that, because like the first time you watch it, you're watching it for the general story. You're not watching it for the little things, like maybe the continuity thing with the with her aging and everything. Like I'll notice it more closely, because I wasn't able to notice it and it confused me. So like just for things like that, like I want to watch it again.
Do you want to quickly talk about the ending at all, or do you just want to let people be surprised?
You know, maybe you should just be surprised, because some strange things happen at the end, and I was just kind of taken aback, like, what just happened? But yeah, no, you should just watch the movie.
I agree. Just watch the movie. It's so good. Watch really any Miyazaki film, because just he's amazing and fantastic, and he makes beautiful. Oh, I want to talk about the animation. Oh, I forgot. It's okay. Beautiful films. He makes beautifully animated movies. Some people have called them Scooby-Doo, like animated style.
It's not though.
It's not, because it's the whole like only the things that are going to be interacted with are like you can tell. But I don't know. I think it's a beautifully animated film, and everyone should go see it, because it's amazing, and he makes amazing films. And really quickly, The Wind Also Rises is coming out soon. That's why we're going to talk about this as well, because he has a new film coming out in...
It already came out.
It already came out. Look at that.
We will see it and talk about it next time.
Yes, we will, because he's fantastic. Obviously, we love him so much. Well, that is all the time we have on this week's episode of Appropriate Audiences. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. See you next week. Sophie is turned into an old woman from a witch, by a witch, from a witch.